The year is 1943. The bloodiest days of the Second World War. The U.S. military is facing a massive problem. Most of the planes they send out aren't coming back. Enemy fire is too intense. When the military analyzed the returning planes, they noticed the damage was always clustered in the same spots: the wings, the tail, and the body. Generals and engineers immediately held a meeting. The logic was simple. Our planes are getting hit the most in these red-dotted areas. Therefore, we need to reinforce these parts with thicker armor. Everyone agreed. Except for one man. Hungarian-born mathematician Abraham Wald stood up and said something that shocked everyone in the room. No, gentlemen. You shouldn't put the armor where the bullet holes are. You must put it where the bullet holes are not. But why? Why would you try to protect a place that hasn't been hit? Wald's answer explains the biggest mistake you make today while managing your career, your money, and your happiness. It's called survivorship bias. The general's mistake was this: they were only examining the planes that managed to return to base, the survivors. Wald realized something crucial. A plane hit in the wing or tail took damage, yes, but it could still fly and make it back home. That's why they could see those holes. But the planes hit in the engine or cockpit, they never came back. They ended up at the bottom of the ocean. These planes were missing from the general's dataset. What Wald was saying was, the bullet holes you see show the non-lethal parts of the plane. The holes you don't see are the lethal ones. This event is one of the greatest lessons in statistics. What is missing from your data set is sometimes more important than the data you have. We humans are programmed to see only success, the winners, and the survivors. Those who failed disappear silently, and we act as if they never existed. So let's leave 1943 and come back to today. How are you making this mental error right now as you watch this video? Let's take a look at success pornography. You see it constantly on YouTube or Instagram. He dropped out of school, started a company in his garage, and now he's a billionaire. The message is clear. School is a waste of time. Take risks. Work in a garage. If Steve Jobs did it, you can too. This is a classic case of survivorship bias. Because in the media, you only see those 3 or 5 billionaires who survived. Nobody reports on the thousands of people who dropped out of school, started a company in a garage, went broke, drowned in debt, and whose names you've never heard. They are the silent evidence. Author Nassim Taleb calls this. The cemetery is silent. If those who failed could write books too, there would be a massive library of failure right next to the success section. And if you read those books, you'd realize something shocking. You would see that the successful and the failed often did the exact same things. Both woke up at 5 a.m. Both worked hard. Both took risks. But one survived, and the other vanished. Because we only see the winner, we think the only reason for success is waking up at 5 a.m. We filter out luck, timing, and invisible variables. Let's change the subject. Have you ever said, man, they used to build things so much stronger back in the day, everything now is falling apart? Or, music used to be so meaningful, now it's all just noise. I'm sorry, but that's a bias too. Today, we only see the best works of the past, because the bad buildings collapsed, the bad songs were forgotten, and the low-quality goods were thrown in the trash. Only the survivors made it to today. Since we don't see the trash from 50 years ago, we think the past was a flawless golden age. This is called time's filter. This bias is dangerous because it binds us to the past with excessive nostalgia and causes us to underestimate the opportunities of today. So what should we learn from Abraham Wald's planes? How do we escape this mental trap? 1. Look for the gap in the data. When you hear a success story, ask yourself, where are the people who tried this and failed? What did they do wrong, or did they do everything right and just get unlucky? 2. Be skeptical of advice from successful people. If a CEO tells you to be very stubborn, be careful. Stubbornness might have led them to success, but it might have driven thousands of others to bankruptcy. Focus on the process and those eliminated, not just the result. When deciding where to put your armor in life, don't focus on the holes everyone else is looking at. Focus on the silent areas that no one is paying attention to. They say history is written by the victors, but the truth is often hidden in the silence of the losers. Next time you say, "Everyone is doing this and winning," remember the planes at the bottom of the ocean. If this video changed your perspective, you can help this video survive the algorithm wars by hitting the like button. In the next video, we will talk about the things we don't see again. See you then.